help eating out? Is it possible to eat healthy?
Yes, well, number one, I just tell people, be the boss. When you go to a restaurant, be the boss. No bread, avoid the extra oils, avoid the extra sugars, and avoid all the extra sugars.
We've got to remember that happiness is more than just an emotion. It's sort of a place of peace as opposed to a place of upset or a place of chaos.
There's a balance of emotions, the feeling of feeling joyful, elated, thrilled, excited, and then there's also this feeling of satisfaction that may bring happiness.
Let's talk about a new system. Well, they're bringing it on us, right? They've 90% of all the central banks globally, they're going to come in with messaging like this is the amazing white knight on a shiny horse coming in to save the day, right? Well, no.
Tips to eating out.
Oh my gosh, that's a big subject right there. People struggle with that, and we've got a lot of things that can help them. So I think let's take it from the top. Can you sort of have some help eating out? Is it possible to eat healthy?
Yes, well, number one, I just tell people, be the boss. When you go to a restaurant, be the boss. No bread, avoid the extra oils, avoid the extra sugars, and avoid all the extra sugars.
So obviously we're trying to avoid, that would be a rule, right? There's one thing that I like a tip that I like to talk about with people. So when you get your menu, they give you the menu, the waiter says, here's your menu. You look at that menu, I want you, instead of looking at that as individual single meals that are put together like that and no other, look at that whole totality of those things as a buffet. Because in the back in that kitchen, there's a bunch of bins with everything in there. And what they're doing is going scoop, 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 or scoop, scoop, flop, however you want to do that. And they're putting that meal together as it says right there on the menu. So what you can do is you can say, okay, if the entree choice has, for example, grilled fish and it has mashed potatoes and corn, you say, I don't really want mashed potatoes and corn. And you look up the menu and you see grilled vegetables or you see broccoli. You say, may I have grilled vegetables or broccoli in place of the corn and mashed potatoes with this piece of grilled fish? And the waiter's going to say yes. At worst, they might say, well, there's a little upcharge, like $1 or $2 or $3. But in that case, you're actually making a better choice.
Yes. I often will look at the menu online before I go to the restaurant. That gives me the intentionality of what I'm going to order when I get there, so I'm not tempted by anything else on the menu. I've seen all of the choices. I definitely don't go in hungry.
No.
And I've looked at that menu before I get there.
Well, then that's a good one. I think leads it to another tip is not going in like starving and ravenous because we make worse decisions typically. You can have some water. If you'll just drink some water and fill that stomach.
A glass of water?
Yeah, fill that stomach up with some water, and you go in there a little bit. You can actually see that you'll eat less if you're sipping on water slightly. I'm talking a lot, but sipping on water slightly between several bites, that's actually a good thing. Another thing that I like to do is like to tell people, when you go with a group, you sometimes have this peer pressure because you don't control what they order, but don't let them control what you order. In other words, don't
be the first to order.
Yeah, well, be the first to order, or don't participate in someone else's misery. I mean, you have people have this shame game they play. They say, gosh, Michelle, can't you have a little fun? Come on, eat a piece of pie with me. Gosh, what's wrong with you? Well, we don't fall for that anymore, and you shouldn't either. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just choosing to make your own decision about what you put in your mouth, and there's nothing wrong with that. If somebody's trying to force you to eat something, they're probably going to force you to think something, and for a person trying to force you to do anything is all about control, and that's not really a good thing to hang around with anybody like that.
That is true. Another good healthy tip is, the dressings. A lot of times I'll toss the lettuce or the spinach or the greens in a whole amount of dressing. Therefore, you don't know the calorie load that you're actually going to get. So you could have them put the dressing on the side.
That's easy. And you could do the old Weight Watchers trick, dip your fork in the dressing and then put it in the salad or whatever. A lot of times we tell people to do this, if you're uncertain about a dressing, you can always use the vinegar and oil, but make sure that the oil is like olive oil, because sometimes they can be other kind of oils like a canola oil or something, which is not any good. So you can actually get that on the side and actually increase some of those good healthy fats there, potentially with that.
Another good tip is don't drink your calories. If you're drinking any kind of fruit juice, or you're putting sugar in your tea, or you're drinking sweet tea, that's just fast absorbed sugar. So skip the drinks that are calories, have water, and eat the calories instead. Like eat a piece of fruit instead of having fruit juice.
The stomach is the size of a fist, not the size of a beach ball. Right? So everybody go like this right now. This is the size of your heart. Now remove one fist, boom, that's the size of your stomach. So what does that mean? If you want to eat less at the restaurant, and even eat better, start with a salad. And that means you're going to chew your food, because you can't just inhale a salad, you have to chew it. So that will slow down the time in which you eat, and you'll fill that fistful size up with some of this fibrous food, and it will sit there, and you'll eat less on your main meal. So I tell people, start off with some roughage like that every single time. Get yourself a salad and start with this sort of pre-meal, and that will help you not eat as much in the main meal.
I like that. The stomach doesn't have any teeth, so chew your food until you chew your food into soup. And you'll oftentimes discover some really cool new types of flavors that you wouldn't have understood as you're inhaling that food. So chew your food. Your stomach doesn't have any teeth. Digestion starts in the mouth. So as we really chew and masticate that food, it's easier on the stomach and better on the digestive processes.
A little, we do this a lot too. Sometimes we'll order a soup sometime beforehand. And I know it kind of goes somewhat, might seem a little contraindicatory with that idea. You said don't drink your calories, but soup has some nutrients in it, and it also takes up space. So it's actually some kind of nutrients that take up that space in that belly, so you do eat less during the meal. So you can start off with a good hearty soup, like a good hearty vegetable and beef soup. We've done that many times, and that's been great. Or some sort of a vegetable soup as a general, like a broth soup. Those are good as well.
The other thing we do is we always share a meal. We look
Yeah.
at the portion size, and if it's late at night, it's often a portion for two. So we'll share that portion, and if we're going to each have a portion, we'll plan to take half home.
There was a lot of tips that we talked about here, and folks, here's the thing with this. Take all these tips. I really encourage you in this segment here to go back and write them all down. Just make yourself a list and start employing those, because that will help you navigate the waters of a menu at a restaurant, even navigate the waters in front of your peers and friends out there. So we can actually make a restaurant visit healthy.
And when you navigate through these economies with people, here's what happens. We want to hold their hand through it, let them know when it's time to buy, sell, reallocate, get out of Dodge. Because a lot of times when you're struck with fear does two things. Number one, it can paralyze, and people just put their head in the sand and say, I'm just going to forget about it and hopefully it gets better. Or it causes you to make a wrong decision. And this is why we are here, is to help people navigate through the political quagmire nonsense that's going on, the economic malaise, and the absolute collapse that we're seeing. And when our freedoms are eroding, our political freedoms, our economic freedoms, our personal freedoms, our religious freedoms, our health freedoms, they're all tied together. But you know what doesn't need to erode with that? Our finances.
KirkElliottPhD.com/Sherwood.
Let's shine the spotlight on one of our star supplements.
The human body can make most of the types of fats it needs from other fats or raw materials.
but not omega-3 fatty acids, also called omega-3 fats or N3 fats.
These are essential fats that the body must get from food.
Biomega 1000 provides a potent dose of omega-3 essential fatty acids sourced from a strategically placed fishing facility in the far South Pacific Ocean off the coast of Chile.
Each capsule delivers an impressive 1,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA, and the capsules also contain vitamin E. See the link below for a special offer, and remember, don't be fooled by cheap online knockoffs.
The body's amazing at recovery, so you want to give it every chance, no matter what time it is. So in that context, no, it's certainly never too late. You're never too old to start trying to be healthy.
No matter where you are in terms of your health, that you can turn this around.
It's never too late to start a wellness program, and it's never too late to reach your healthcare goals. There's an old adage, and I'm not sure where it came from, but I really do like it. And they say the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
We just want people to hang on to hope.
We are hope dealers. And if you are not paying attention to the 4 foundational pillars of health, physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual, eventually it is going to catch up.
If we get all those 4 areas right, and we do it right, we see a dynamic occur in the middle called wellness, and that's where people get better. Their health is really going to return as a side effect of wellness.
Exploring biohacking, bioharmonizing, biosynergizing, stacking, resilience, or anti-fragility?
Start here. No gimmicks, just proven results.
What is happiness? Well, happiness varies from person to person, and that's something that oftentimes people seek to discover or find. So let's talk just a little bit about what is happiness and what defines it,
Well, happiness for me is being married to her.
and vice versa,
How about
being
that one,
married
man?
to him.
That was a good one to start with. Now, happiness is really, it's more than just a state of mind. It's a state of self, right? It's emotional, it's physical, it's spiritual, it could be even financial. It's all those things wrapped up. We've got to remember that happiness is more than just an emotion. It's sort of a place of peace as opposed to a place of upset or a place of chaos.
Yeah, so there's a balance of emotions, the feeling of feeling joyful, elated, thrilled, excited, and then there's also this feeling of satisfaction
Yeah.
that may bring happiness. And that satisfaction may be with family, it may be with life endeavors, it might be with sports or athletic achievements.
Yeah, so think achievement, think conquest, think victory, think something you have, like a possession, can make you happy or produce the emotion of happiness. Well, you gotta remember in time, though, that if the happiness is not sort of driven intrinsically, the extrinsic or the outside in sort of motivation of happiness is sort of temporary. We talk about this with employees all the time, right? So employees can be motivated in both ways. You can be motivated by money, which would be extrinsic, or you can be motivated by the achievement you have inside, which is intrinsic, like you achieve something within that makes you do really well at your job. But happiness as a whole is something we all need to sort of have a sort of an intrinsic look at. Are we happy? If not, why not? Are we in a state of peace? If not, why not?
Yeah, so good points. So signs of happiness, they may vary from person to person, and there are a lot of different keys that might emulate someone is actually happy, like feeling like you're living the life that you always wanted.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was doing a broadcast the other night live. It's like, what makes you happy? And I think probably some of the things that make me happy is being able to see other people achieve something that they couldn't or thought they couldn't do, and we had a hand in seeing them do that, and to see that their deemed impossibility is now actually a reality, that's kind of makes me happy. And then obviously when when you tell me I'm a good husband, that makes me happy. When God affirms how much he loves me, that makes me happy, right?
Yeah, so other things like some people like to just go with the flow and they have this willingness to take life as it comes. So different than the person that is highly motivated
Yeah.
to an achievement to bring happiness.
Well, some people are risk takers, some people are risk averse, and so everybody's different. And I think a neurotransmitter that probably would be related to this is the neurotransmitter called dopamine. Now, dopamine is this thing that's produced and it's excitability. It's like everybody would understand like the dopamine rush or the runner's high or the workout high or the achievement high. Sometimes that neurotransmitter is congruent with the emotion of happiness. And so I think that, when we look at that, we've got to think about activities that also promote the generation of dopamine, which would generate achievement, which would generate at least internal happiness.
So that would be like living a life that is giving you meaning or purpose.
Right. I mean, purpose, if you're not living your purpose, you probably know it. And if you're not living your purpose, you're not on purpose. But everybody's life has a purpose. And so are we fulfilling our purpose? And if we're not, and we know it, there's going to be a feeling of uncertainty or a feeling of loss or lack in your body. So this whole idea of purpose needs to be pushed all the time. So we need to be checking ourselves in the sense that, am I doing what brings me fulfillment? And if I'm not, how can I change it to where it will? And if that doesn't work, maybe I need to consider doing something else.
Yeah, well, and if that internal happiness is there should be a sense of wanting to share that happiness with everybody else.
Well, there should be. I mean, I think of a simple, again, back to a biblical concept, the good news of the gospel. If that's good news and that makes us happy that we've got good news to share, we ought to share it. And so when we have something to share that makes us happy, we typically share it with other people. So we got to think about, even in our interactions with people, what kind of information, what kind of conversations are we sharing with them? Does our information that we share produce happiness? Does it show happiness? Does it generate happiness? Or is it the opposite? Because, I think they're both addictive. You can get addicted to one side, you can get addicted to the other. You could be addicted to happiness, which I think is a good addiction. Or you can be addicted to chaos,
I'd rather
which
be
is probably
addicted
not
to
good.
happiness and sadness.
Oh, no doubt, man.
Or grief.
Oh, but people are like that, and so, but I'm not saying be overly, false happy. I'm saying that, to be honest about it, but we need to look at our own lives. Are we fulfilling our purpose, and are we truly living a life that produces the happiness within inside of us?
Well, and then once we reach that point, living a life with true happiness, wouldn't that bring a sense of gratitude?
I think so. I think gratitude is one of the things that we should be living with, every day. Thankfulness, gratitude, satisfaction, contentment. We really need to think about how we are living those things. It's okay to want more, but it's not okay to want more and not be content with what you have.
That's a good point.
Because you can always be driving for something
really a good
else,
point.
but not be happy with what you have. And so you then take it for granted. And that's not okay. That's like the idea the grass is always greener on the other side. Not necessarily. Sometimes it's artificial turf.
Yeah. So last question is, how is happiness then different from gratitude?
Happiness, again, is a state of mind, and a state of heart, and a state of being. Gratitude is really a recognition of the good things that have been in your life, are in your life, or will be in your life. A little bit different, but I think that they go together hand in hand. I think to exhibit happiness, you probably have to understand some gratitude, and to have some happiness and gratitude together, and they go together. I think they almost fuel the fires of each other.
Well, and happiness seems to me to be the opposite of anger. Happiness would have great effects on physical health, physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually.
So to steal a line from the Jamaican friends, don't worry, be happy, man. Up next, our financial guru, Kirk Elliott, gives us advice on what you need to know at this time in history.
Let's get real. Most emergency food is just as bad for you as any other choice in the standard American diet. And that's just sad.
We don't just need food. We need highly nutritional food.
We don't just want to survive food shortages. We are meant to thrive in adversity.
Complete your daily nutrition and have shelf-stable Kingdom Fuel as a cornerstone of your food supply.
Don't sacrifice your health or your taste buds.
Stock up on Kingdom Fuel now.
Hello, I'm Kevin Sorbo. Now, there's an old saying, it's not what you know, but who you know that matters. Now, that's true in our careers, spiritual life, and when it comes to our health and overall well-being. Today, most of us know a lot of information about health and nutrition, but are we really doing anything with it? So here's what I've learned from working with Doctors Michele and Mark Sherwood. They're the founders of the Functional Medical Institute. You need a wellness plan that's customized based on your unique needs. Now remember, real change can only happen when you address the whole person. That is exactly what Mark and Michele do, and why they are people you should know. They'll help you discover what you need to experience transformation. Find out at sherwood.tv/Sorbo. That's sherwood.tv/Sorbo, or just see the link below. Have a great day and God bless.
I could use your assistance.
Okay,
Jesus.
Huh?
My name is Jesus.
Sure. Jesus.
Jesus is here today.
You looking for a job?
Yes, sir.
You and Mark have 45 days before the bank forecloses.
Not to worry. They do not call me by God Byron for nothing. The collection plate starts to be passed around. Mark reaches into the basket and shouts, "You and your family are the winner from the first church of the lotto." Kind of think of it like a high-stakes bingo night every Sunday.
Poopy diaper!
Poopy diaper!
This video of the diaper is going viral right before our eyes.
This is a miracle.
What is?
Friends of Faith has over 300,000 followers.
Oh my dad! That's more followers than Moses had.
Jesus! Take the wheel!
Just say it.
No,
Stop
take the wheel!
I got it, buddy.
Hey, Mark, it's great to be with you again. And we've all been talking about the globalists and their plans for a big global reset and what that means for a long time now. Well, starting on January 16th, for 1 week, they were all meeting the G7, the G20, the IMF, the World Economic Forum. All the big globalist policy leaders globally were meeting in Davos, Switzerland, like they do every single year. They had this confab, right? So what were they talking about, right? Well, before they even met, their notes came out, the outline. This is what we're going to talk about to all you people that are here, right? All the globalists, and we've got Republicans and Democrats and politicians there. They're all meeting. And what are they talking about? What did they talk about, right? So according to the World Economic Forum website, these are the topics. And again, like I've said before, words have meaning, right? So let's listen to these words. They're bullet points. They're going to address the current energy and food crisis in the context of a new system for energy, climate, and nature. They're going to address the current high inflation, low growth, high debt economy in the context of a new system for investment, trade, and infrastructure. Address the current industry headwinds in the context of a new system for harnessing frontier technologies for private sector innovation and resilience. They're going to address the current social vulnerabilities in the context of a new system for work, skills, and care. And they're going to address the current geopolitical risk in the context of a new system for dialogue and cooperation in a multipolar world. It's like, what's all this talk about a new system? Well, they're bringing it on us, right? 90% of all the central banks globally are now starting to issue going down the path of a central bank digital currency. Now, they're going to come in with messaging like this is the amazing white knight on a shiny horse coming in to save the day, right? Well, no, this is not what it's about. All that a central bank digital currency is cryptocurrency. It's a digital version of the paper money that they already print. However, so they can print just as many dollars as they want, right? Or as many yen or as many euro as they want. they can issue as many digital version of that currency as well, because there's no tangible backing behind it. So it's going to do nothing to address the inflationary pressures. But here's the deal, Mark. For, the old saying, never let a good crisis go to waste. Okay. Nobody would want a system where your digital social profile, what you spend money on, what your religion is, who you donate to, what church you give to, what political party you give to, how you spend your money, have you been vaxxed or not vaxxed, right? All of this is part of our digital social profile. And if they don't like it, because it's programmable money, they have the authority to shut off your ability to buy or sell. This is what a digital social profile attached to a central bank digital currency does. So when they're talking about a new system, this is the system they're talking about. How do I know that it's not some other system? Because further on in their notes, they talk about how this is going to be a new normal, how they have to talk about a global coalition for digital safety, because there's big efforts that we need to tackle here. They need to talk about applying human rights to the digital world. Why? Because they know that their system is going to strip away our privacy, our freedom, and our rights. And so they need to talk about how are we going to tackle this when we're going to have a ton of opposition from stripping people of their freedom and their privacy completely. So this is what's going on politically. And all of our investments, Mark, are a combination of some puzzle pieces. The political puzzle piece, the economic puzzle piece, the social puzzle piece, right? They all get put together. And this is what I do and what we do at our firm is put those puzzle pieces together and strategically put together a system to get out of the path of this hurricane and safely reallocate to get out of the system where you're not just a digital number, where your programmable money can shut you off from buying or selling, right? So how do you do that? With tangible assets like gold and silver that not only have we talked about in the past how they're great investments, I mean, they're booming, but they're also in this respect, also instrumental in protecting your religious freedom, your personal freedom, your political freedom, your economic freedom, your health freedom, because it's private. They're private transactions. So call our office. Mark, you and I talk a lot about this, and every one of the viewers should give us a call because we can strategically map out. It's a free consultation, your strategy for success so you can thrive. And all you have to do is go to kirkelliottphd.com/Sherwood, or you can just give our office a call, 720-605-3900, and say Dr. Mark sent you.
Exploring biohacking, bioharmonizing, biosynergizing, stacking, resilience, or anti-fragility?
Start here. No gimmicks, just proven results.